It had been a harrowing night. Lost on the lake, they were lucky to find this beach.
How did you feel about the last 2 or 3 hours?
You know, it wasn't my favorite 2 or 3 hours of the trip so far, but I mean, we're gonna get ourselves into situations that we just have to deal with. I suppose we handled it the best we could. I think we learned a lot from it, and I hope we'll take some time to sit and talk about it at some point and just, you know, figure out what we did. In fact, I'm happy it happened earlier in the trip than later.
Chaotic. Learning when we should, you know, learning the last wee hours of the day. A bit much. You know, we're like greedy, you know, we just did 80 kilometers and, you know, you've done 60 and it's 6 o'clock, why are we going to stop now, you know, kind of thing. We know how hard it is to row, so that was the main reason why we kept on going.
It's a good thing that storm stayed away.
Yeah, that would have been just a killer. Yeah.
A close call and a lesson learned. 5 days into their journey, they've reached the inland sea known as Lake Winnipeg. Every lake has a tiger's heart, and the 7 men and 1 woman living as 1840s fur traders must cross this immense body of water on their way to Hudson Bay. They are only 5 days into the quest, but already their lives are changing.
How are you guys finding having 1 woman and 7 men on this?
It's okay. Not a problem. She asked us how we felt. She asked us if it, you know, if it bothered us, if she was within eyesight and so on. And basically, it doesn't bother any of us, as you've probably noticed. We just kind of carry on as though nothing untoward's going on.
So how are you handling the issues of getting a bit of privacy?
Privacy, I think, you know, if I want privacy, I just walk away. And likewise with the guys, you know, if I'm uncomfortable, I'll go 200 meters away and I'll change over there. But I'm just noticing as I get more comfortable with the group, I'm kind of getting a little bit closer, you know, and I can almost just like turn my back and change my shirt and it doesn't bother me, so.
In the late afternoon, a visitor arrives from a world beyond their beachfront camp. He is Jamie Brown, the creator and producer of the project. Jamie is bringing technical supplies for the camera crew and more pemmican for the boat crew. The pemmican is the core of their diet, and like everything else they've been given, it is period appropriate, meaning it's what the Yorkmen of 1840 would have had.
We've got a variety of derivatives of pemmican ready for you.
You have a little book when you're done. 1,000 ways.
There'll be more than that.
Cook
Let me assure you.
Yeah.
Yes, and you brought more.
And I brought
Excellent.
a lot more.
A lot more?
Pemmican is a mixture of buffalo, blueberries, and lard, and was made for the voyage from a 19th century recipe. After less than a week, they can barely eat it.
It almost looks like bear shit.
No, it shouldn't be.
A little bit of this goes a long way. You may not need any more.
Yeah, you know, we were told, and again, you know, we'll find out what the actual situation is, that you'd need about 2 pounds a day.
Per person?
We're not eating that much. We're going more for the potatoes and onions.
Potatoes and onions.
Yeah.
And
you'll run out of those, though.
bannock.
That's the thing, you're going to run out of the potatoes. You got to try to stretch those a little bit.
As Jamie leaves, there is a growing sense they're caught in a time and place far removed from anything they've experienced before.
We had an offer of 3 more boxes of pemmican, which we gracefully declined.
You passed on getting more pemmican?
Yeah. I know we've got enough to get well past Norway. We've probably got enough for the whole trip. But we'll reassess in Norway House. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So you figure you got enough right now?
no. Pemmican, yes, definitely.
Okay.
Their journey traces one of the great fur trade routes from Winnipeg to York Factory. If they complete it, they'll be the only living humans to do so. So far, they've reached what's known as the South Basin. They'll get more food only once, at Norway House, 400 kilometers north across the unpredictable waters of Lake Winnipeg. Their boat has been named Bob, beautiful old boat. And with the wind in his canvas, Bob sails the warm waters with the grace of an early morning seabird. Paul Gosson is the optimist on board. He's a river guide who likes poetry. In tribute to Bob's spirit, Paul writes a haiku which reads, "Benevolent wind, sails full and ripe like a plum, a gift from the sky." Maritz Lunenberg is a carpenter who says he too used to write poetry until his first wife, quote, beat it out of him. So he gave up poems and took up sailing.
This is my sailing ground. This is my stomping area. This is people I've known for 20, 25 years. All of them very good friends. Hi, Ben!
Maritz is a man born 2 centuries too late. His quick temper and open heart seem culled from the pages of fur trade history.
Maritz, we love you!
Love you too! This is where he scattered my father's ashes in November. This is an extremely emotional moment. Because we'll be passing over the exact spot where we cast him off.
Maritz has brought the crew to Gull Harbor for a private ceremony to honor his late father.
Nicely done, Mr. Cowie. Aye, lads.
Hi, Richard.
How are you? Good. Nice to see you.
Special day, eh?
Very special day.
Looking good out there, you guys. Yeah, thank you. Looking good.
Okay, today is a very special day, and on behalf of Maritz and his family and Maritz's father, whose ashes we spread from this very dock just 8-9 months ago, I know that he would be very, very pleased.
3 weeks ago, the York boat crew were strangers. After today, they'll call themselves a family.
I introduced Kevin to Pa and spread some tobacco over the water as a gift to Pa. Part of what I learned through Margot, who gave us a sweat prior to our departure. We were in a sweat lodge, and I ran into Pa there during the sweat. And between him and the offerings that we're giving to the lake, I think we're going to do very, very well on getting to our goal of Norway House in as quick a jaunt as possible.
Father. No worries, mate. Thanks a lot. Love you guys. See ya.
It's a beautiful day.
Reaching Norway House will be their first big step, but it is weeks away across a notoriously dangerous lake.
It looks like people want to be stopping here tonight. We don't want to get stuck in the same situation we had the other night where we were paddling till or rowing till 10 and trying to land and running off beaches and being generally disorganized.
It's been a good day, hasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think we should push our luck.
How was your day, Benny?
Oh, it's been good. Lazy days. We're getting away with a lot, I think, right now.
Yeah, today's been a pretty good day, hasn't it?
Really hot, though. I think sunburnt my ears.
So, want to get in the water with me? We'll take that picture box.
It's a beautiful evening. We hope that the wind gives us a good south or a southeast breeze so that we can go up through the pipestones and work the east coast and get to Norway House quicker than we think. Because that's the plan. Okay, we're fired up.
At the time of the fur trade, these waters were plied by brigades of York boats. In 1840 alone, over 250,000 pounds of fur was delivered to York factory, almost all of it by York boat. The system worked because 19th century Yorkmen had few choices but to row and to row. Their 21st century counterparts have things a little bit easier.
It's noon. Does anybody want to take a swim? Woo, that feels good.
That is so nice.
Oh, yeah, why would you stay in the boat?
For Rosanna Schick, the hot days were particularly long. She chose not to swim with the men. However, she welcomed the good weather.
One thing I'm really thankful for is the cooperation we've gotten from this lake. Going into the trip, just a lot of people talking about how big the lake is and how powerful it is and what it can do, and I mean, it's taken many lives. When we got to the lake, I mean, it was stormy that very first day, and we saw the waves, and I mean, it was really intimidating to realize that we had to cross this lake. It's been very, very accommodating. I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, I'm not jumping up for that.
Rowing, actually, funny enough, seems to be one of the easiest parts of this trip. Moving that big boat with those gigantic oars is one of the easiest things that we have to do every day. Everything else is difficult, and specifically sleeping. The bugs are awful, and they're everywhere, and we can't get away from them. Sleeping is one of the most difficult things on this trip. You get to the point where you're so exhausted that you just want to fall down and sleep, but as soon as you do that, you just get attacked by millions. In fact, there's bugs right now buzzing around my ears. And it's a real challenge to be able to fall asleep. It got to the point where in a few nights we were getting maybe 3 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep over the course of 2 or 3 nights, and finding ourselves absolutely exhausted in the daytime. And me personally, I don't think I've ever felt that fatigued in my whole entire life.
Day 7, and the boat is 200 kilometers north of Winnipeg. They row at a pace of 20 strokes per minute, about 1,000 strokes an hour. Due to the south winds, they've only rowed 30 hours all week. But already, the strain is showing.
Oh, there goes my hands. 8 hours of rowing this York boat.
I mean, I only saw it about once every 40 seconds.
I'll have to be rested for a while.
You seem tired today.
Oh, it's a long, hot day. It's our longest day yet of rowing. No current with us, no wind with us. Be the hardest day for us all.
In the late afternoon, they reach Loon Straits. The Monkman family has lived here for 4 generations. They're the descendants of a Scots Yorkman and his Cree wife.
You look somewhat different.
How are you?
Fine, thank you. Welcome back.
Good to see you.
You look different, dear.
Thank you.
Looking very fit and healthy.
I trust you don't mind. We brought along our crew of York boaters.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Ryan.
Jeff Cowie is also descended from a Scots Yorkman, and on Monkman Island, he's treated as part of the clan.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
I seen you on TV the other day.
Oh, did you? Well, we've heard lots of good things about you.
Thanks to this guy here.
Brian Monkman and Jeff are old friends. They built this home together. Within minutes, a deal is made. Food for labor. Rarely has the idea of chopping wood seemed so appealing. There will be no pemmican tonight.
I wouldn't say it's the texture. To eat it raw, well, I haven't even tried that yet. But when we fry it up, you know, it has more of the consistency of hamburger. But There's just such a high lard content. The taste can be a little unsettling after a while.
Because that's what the Yorkmen lived on. We've been out for a week and we're already chopping wood in exchange for some other types of foods. How do you think they sustained it for the 10 weeks, the 12 weeks?
I don't know. Maybe they weren't as spoiled as we are. They probably didn't realize how much more variety there is to eat.
The Yorkmen of 1840 would not have done this. They'd have saved their strength for rowing. The Yorkmen of 2001 should not have done this. They'd promised to stay period appropriate, to use only the food and supplies already provided.
Oh my goodness. We have died and gone to heaven.
This is not pemmican.
All thoughts of this commitment slipped away with the smell of homemade bread. Our program director, Don Young, was not there to police the York boat crew. They knew what the rules were and made their own decisions.
So I feel bad.
You feel bad? Oh, we'll make up for it tomorrow.
Indeed we will. What you got on your plate there, Ken?
I got lots of food, man. Times are good.
Yeah, times are good.
After dinner, another discovery. Someone had helped the crew smuggle 21st century food and supplies aboard.
Like, do we really need to show this?
Oh yeah, I think we have to see it. We have jam, and we have honey, we've got garlic, we have some spices, pepper, toothbrushes, underwear, and a big feast at the Monkman's. None of this seems to me to be period appropriate to the 1840s. What's going on?
I was taught, what a bad thing cheating is, and I hate to even use the word cheating. I mean, the packaging looks bad. It doesn't fit in with what we're doing, but I really think that we're blowing this out of proportion, to be quite honest.
I mean, we got bigger things to worry about. Like, this is Lake Winnipeg. We're rowing a 40-foot boat by hand across the lake. This is 4 cans of jam and 4 things of honey. Like, that's all it is.
And it's exceptionally difficult when you're receiving gifts from people that are very excited about what you're doing. They're encouraging you. They feel for you. They, in many cases, wish that they were doing the same thing you were doing.
We can't just switch from our everyday lives to the 1840s as easily as everyone thinks it is. We can't.
We're deeply appreciative of the hospitality we've been shown, but I think we're also feeling torn in that we're not really following the vision that was originally presented to us. And that's what we're struggling with right now.
It has a bit of an Old Testament feel to it, doesn't it?
A lot of temptation.
Jeff, you set out to follow, in a sense, in your great-grandfather's footsteps. Would he have had garlic and honey and jam and...
Well, I know for a historical fact that he snuck along some jam packs with him. He didn't get any flack for that.
Day 9. The crew has recommitted itself to life in 1840. They stow their gear and leave the contraband food behind.
What you have to do, Rosie, is you have to find a place where that bale can go if you're going to take it out.
Can we put anything else here?
The temptations of Monkman Island are the first of many they'll face on the journey ahead.
Thought we'd be under sail, but it seems like we're back to rowing this thing again.
The days on the boat are long, the nights longer. With no tent or screen of any sort, they are plagued by mosquitoes and desperately in need of rest. But luck is with them, and Bob soon under sail. The crew overcome by fatigue, sleep restlessly in the hot sun.
We have a new plan for tonight. We found that last night was such a waste of time trying to sleep with all the mosquitoes that we decided we're going to go in, make some dinner, relax for hopefully a couple hours, and then come back out on the water, maybe row a bit more, maybe sail if there's enough wind. And then when we're tired and ready to sleep, we're going to drop anchor and sleep in the boat.
Not all the crew are exhausted. Rob Clark goes swimming.
I suppose my feelings so far are that it's great to be doing this. It makes me feel like a kid again, maybe like Tom Sawyer or Huck Finn would have felt when they were doing their adventures on the Mississippi. Today, for example, just having a bath in the ocean by myself, and instead of standing there to dry in the sun, just running along this spit and back for maybe 3 miles. It just felt wonderful.
Taking the lard out of the pemmican and then make a roux. It helps thicken the soup.
Is the pemmican tasting any better at all?
I think people are getting used to it, yeah. I think people kind of don't mind it this way. But that might be a stretch for some people. Like, I don't mind it like this. It's not too bad. It's just really heavy. After eating this all the time, you get a real desire to eat something crisp and juicy.
You don't like the heat much, eh?
No.
What do you think of the idea of rowing at night?
Well, we kind of had a rough sleep last night, so didn't really crack the whip in the morning, kind of a thing. Mosquitoes are pretty brutal.
If we have any wind, one guy on the helm, one guy on watch, and a few people sleeping, just to sort of take this edge off our mosquito plague problem that we're having.
We'll try and sail right late into the night.
Hope so, yeah.
And hopefully right through the next day, and onward until we're done.
Yeah, hopefully there'll be enough of us who, are awake enough to just keep on going. If people want to rest, they'll take a nap.
So you're saying you feel pretty good about this?
Yeah, it's different, It'll be exciting, I think. I think we got some potential for some fun. If anything, it'll be good if we just get away from the bugs. Make everybody feel good.
The fur traders of 1840 often traveled at night, a dangerous decision. No one knows how many boats were lost on Lake Winnipeg, but with clear skies and calm waters, the Yorkmen would have rowed into the approaching darkness. Their lives given over to their helmsmen and their fates.
Some of these explorers have been real thrill seekers.
So what do you make of the weather, Maris?
It's calm. I don't know if I don't think we're going to have any trouble as far as weather is concerned tonight. If we do, we're not going to be too far offshore, so we can always scuttle in. And if there was any kind of menacing weather in there, we'd be picking up wind. It's not that far away. As you can see, the lake is nice and calm. It doesn't mean that we won't get some weather, but I don't imagine it's going to be that bad.
Shortly after midnight, the north wind does come up. A heat storm is building. Once again, they are in danger. Our program director was told to intervene if he felt the boat was in peril. Tonight, he steps in and hands out flashlights to help find a safe beach. It will be another night of fighting the bugs. But with the winds growing fast, they're lucky to have found a beach at all.
Wind came up fast, then?
Very. Very.
Good thing we found this beach as well.
Yes, very good.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea in theory about sailing at night, but you know, this shows you the practice of it. It's a little more problematic than that.
In the hard light of the next morning, even simple pleasures are frustrating.
What are we going to do to get some sleep?
Well, we're definitely going to build some kind of structure that we can put a smudge in, and that can hold the smoke a little bit, smoke out the mosquitoes, and the Aboriginals did that.
This morning I was talking to Jeff, and he raised the possibility of maybe the voyage not being completed because of the exhaustion level.
Yeah, well, that's totally a possibility. I mean, the bugs we're facing right now are quite less than what we can expect on the Itchy-Mamish and on the Hayes River.
Right, so we'll obviously have to solve this bug dilemma before we get there. Otherwise,
hugely, yeah. We're also, we're in trouble of not finishing.
It is the afternoon of day 13, and another night of misery looms. It's crucial they come up with a plan.
Take a wigwam and just run pull the willow branches over like this, then plop the tarp on. We can put the fire in, and then people just sleep like a spokes in a wheel with the fire in the middle.
Same concept as just a freestanding A-frame, right?
Close it right off.
It sounds quite hot inside.
You could put the flap right on the crosses of your A-frame.
How long do you think?
Eventually, they opt for a smudge tent, which is an A-frame design with one open side. Rob Clark does not think it will work. He has his own idea.
I think our tolerance for heat and claustrophobia vary quite a bit. So some people will probably manage just fine in something like that. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get much sleep in it, so.
yeah, I know you've been working on this for a couple of days, and you have limited success so far, right?
Well, the first night I slept about 4 hours, and the bugs were pretty bad, and the others didn't sleep well. And then last night I didn't sleep at all.
You're going to work on this, but the others are going to be working on that. Is this not a dangerous precedent?
I think if this works out, everyone's going to want to do it.
How important is this thing we're trying to build here?
I think it's pretty important. No, we have to solve this problem because I know personally, and I'm sure everybody else feels the same way, that we can't keep going with the amount of sleep that we've been getting.
York boats always carried a waterproof tarp to cover the cargo and protect the food. It makes an ideal tent, if, of course, there's no need for the tarp.
Realize that the shelter is the biggest priority we have right now. We need a shelter more than we need a boat tarp, so we have to cut it.
I can't see the Yorkmen doing this.
No, neither can I. I'm sure they've probably had something that was already done. If these guys are coming from Orkney Islands, they're Scotsmen. They don't even have mosquitoes over there. Could you imagine what they must have had to put up with when they came over here?
6 feet under.
The key to the design is the smudge fire, which will create enough smoke to keep the bugs away, if the wind is in the right direction. No one has actually done this before, but they've read that it works. If the smudge tent fails, a couple of other prototypes are also being tested.
They really won't get under here because unless you could flare out the bag so it went over your shoulders. Yeah, I don't know, this might work.
Is this a sign of lack of faith in the tent?
The Elephant Man.
It is an evening of desperation.
So Ken, how do you think the Yorkmen would have felt with a bag over their head?
Oh, they probably would have said, finish me off and dump me in the sea.
You can go that way down there then. We'll all move up a bit.
I think this is the best hope yet. I'm counting on at least 2 hours of sleep.
You want to have a rotation of staying awake, or you want to just hope that somebody wakes up as the fires are going down?
The next morning, they sleep until 7. The battle with the bugs has not been won, but for the first time, they wake in daylight with sleep in their eyes.
Good morning.
How was your night, Randall?
It was excellent. Started off on the sail outside with the cool wind and the cool breeze. Kept the bugs at bay for a bit, and then we sort of the wind died down, so I woke up and helped Kevin actually, who was also up. We just stoked the fire, threw some greenery on it, get a little bit more of a smudge going, and then hopped in the tent.
So the tent worked really well?
I think so, yeah. Absolutely, the tent worked really well.
All Great Lakes have spirits of their own. Lake Winnipeg's has been gentle so far. Despite this, the transition to another place in time has not been easy. But slowly, they're becoming more comfortable with life in 1840.
Baking powder. Supposed to be good for your teeth.
Today, while we were rowing, Kenny sat in the bow and sewed his little face off for about 8 hours in order to finish our tent. So come around here, I'll show you what he did. This was the missing wall from last time, so now we have a 4-walled structure. We had debated about whether or not we would put a door in this wall, but what we decided to do was just to keep it enclosed, and rather than make a door, we would just go in and out under one of the side flaps until we're all inside, and then close it up for the night. And we also have a very strict rule, but once you're in the tent, you're in the tent for the whole night. There's no leaving for anything.
So Ken, are you proud of your creation?
Well, see how it works first, and I can be proud tomorrow.
Not completely bug-proof. There's another one, but we'll have a little bug-killing session before the night begins.
As the days pass, there's a growing sense of the richness of their new lives. The wilderness seems embracing, not hostile. Their quest, attainable, not impossible. The great explorer, Sir John Franklin, once traveled by York boat. He described his passage as unending toil broken only by the terror of the storms. His survival was due, in part, to the design of the vessel. They sail well in heavy seas. York boats are steered by either a rudder or an oar.
It's gonna be hard with that oar.
On this day, Randall Shore is learning how to use the oar.
You only have so much range.
He's soft-spoken and shy, and the crew treat him like a young brother. Randall's doing well, but when the wind comes up, it's a losing battle.
I don't mean that way. With the throttle, use it like a throttle. Use it hard. Don't be shy with it.
Something that I find interesting and sometimes frustrating is some people are much more vocal and much more just very opinionated and one-sided in that sense, and really aren't open to other people's ideas, and really almost it's their way or no way.
I want that stupid bow turned around is what I want. Okay, do the oar thing there, guys. It's either that or we ditch the sail. Do it quick. Do it quick.
Maritz Lunenberg is a take-charge type, with little time for bruised feelings. He's taken over the helm and fights the wind.
Everyone, get it in there.
But without the rudder, the boat flounders.
Drop the sail. Drop the sail. Unless we get a rudder on, forget it. Good.
It's gonna be really hard with the waves, eh, Kevin?
Kevin Mustard wants the rudder on and says he can do it. But it's awkward and heavy, and in the rolling waves, there's a real danger his hands will get crushed.
Okay, bottom's on.
There. Yeah. Right on. Way to go. Way to go, brother.
It's worth the crack. Worth the crack.
Kevin's gamble pays off, and with the rudder firmly in place, Bob takes flight.
This is great. Boom. All of a sudden we're doing twice what we can row.
This York boat is finally doing what it looks like it's really likes to do. And we're pulling almost 8 knots right now, I think.
If we hit a rock at this speed, that rudder's gonna be just flying off.
Seen the movie Far and Away. Tom Cruise has to teach Nicole Kidman how to wash. You plunge and then you scrub. You plunge and you scrub, and if it's not clean, you plunge and scrub again. Well, that's what we're doing.
Without Nicole Kidman, though.
Well, that guy can always dream, right?
As you can see, much to my chagrin, I still haven't figured out the straight razor. Can't seem to get it sharp enough. I think we're all getting a little tired of the kind of the buildup on our teeth and the battle against trying to stay reasonably clean. We're pushing the 2.5, 3 week mark, which is a significant amount of time away from loved ones and family and stuff. And I guess I'm starting to think more and more about them. But, well, they'll survive and I'll survive. And we'll all be stronger for it.
Morning.
Good morning.
And how did you sleep?
Oh, slept really good.
Yeah. Does it look like we've solved the bug dilemma? Is the tent working?
Yeah, the tent's working great. There were no bugs the last 3 nights in a row, but a lot of sleep talking.
Not too hot?
No. It gets actually cool about 2 or 3 in the morning. It gets cool and you want to cover up, so it's nice.
Good. Okay.
Day 17, and another reality of life in 1840 disrupts their peaceful morning.
Not good.
Our nutritious pemmican.
That's mold.
What's the problem with it?
Sweet. Mold.
How much?
No, it looks like just about all of it.
Times are going to be tough now. It'd be hard to treat that.
Yeah, we may have just invented a new antibiotic.
Well, what else is there to eat other than this?
Well, we have another box of pemmican, and it looks like most of what's underneath there is all right.
Like there's stories about people finding caches of this stuff that's 30 years old, and you know, somebody tastes it and it's still fine. Whether, I don't know whether, see, like inside there, it's probably all right.
We haven't checked them for a while. We have a small box that we transfer pemmican into, and then we access that every day. So we don't go into these boxes maybe every, 4 or 5 days we're in there.
It was one of the trade-offs that we made when we made our waterproof tent. That tarp was one of the few waterproof ones we had, and it was designed to cover the whole boat, which would have protected our
That
food.
wouldn't have prevented the water from coming from the bottom.
No, not up from the bottom, but we could have packed the boxes higher off the bottom deck.
Getting to Norway House has taken on a new importance. Fortunately, the fair winds continue and the distance lessens as reliable Bob sails relentlessly north. Soon, the 21st century returns.
It's my dad, Ken Albert Sr. They're offering us food.
No food.
After much discussion, the program director relents and allows limited trading, as the Yorkmen of 1840 might have done.
All right, this is just bannock though, right?
Yes,
All right. I think bannock's allowed.
Wonderful.
What about oranges? No oranges.
On a brilliant morning in late July, they reach the crown of Lake Winnipeg, where it narrows and becomes the Nelson River. Ken Albert Jr. has hunted moose here all his life. He's the only one on board who has rowed a York boat before this trip, and is proud to be coming home in one.
Norway House is a Cree nation of about 3,600 on-reserve band members. It was a very important part of the fur trade. Some people call Norway House unofficial capital of Manitoba during the fur trade. A lot of rowers that did the work for Hudson Bay were from Norway House. They rowed the boats, they carried the goods. They're still important today. We have a celebration called York Boat Days, just a celebration of York boats, and it just keeps the history of the York boat living on.
Preserving that history is important to the people of Norway House. The arrival of this York boat shows there are others who also have not forgotten.
Yeah, I'm just thinking this is really interesting because it would give us a sense of what it must have been like to be part of the York Boat Brigades with a collection of York boats all approaching the community. It's really interesting, and I think it's the first experience we've had with that so far.
Good job.
Finally home. I'm stoked. Again. It just won't go away.
They have taken 19 days to reach Norway House. The boats of 1840 would have arrived in about half that time. Their crews would have resupplied quickly and rowed on. This crew receives a hero's welcome. The celebration honors not just their arrival, it also respects the memory of all the other Yorkmen who passed this way not so very long ago.
That's quite a welcome, eh?
Wow. Oh, yeah.
Everybody, all of you guys here, right on, boy. You guys just went on my back when I seen the guys coming.
From the crowd, Larry Duncan, their rowing coach, emerges to share the moment. But the exhilaration will not last long. the tears of joy will be replaced by those of frustration and pain. They have conquered Lake Winnipeg, an achievement that will be made insignificant by what lies ahead. Next time on Quest for the Bay, the backbreaking work of portaging begins.
I don't mind hard work, but this is stupid work. This portage sucks.
The spirit of the group is shattered, and there's talk of quitting. And the weather changes at the worst possible time. Join us for episode 3 of Quest for the Bay.